All right. I'm calling this part two. It's kind of take two if you want to think about it that way. So we did this yesterday, head over heels drum tracking. Kind of a new format, new series. So there's bugs to always work out, right? Some kinks to work out in the system. And just doing it helped me kind of work out a couple kinks. Probably have a couple more to fix as well. But this is kind of the process of making those loop tracks. And I think it's just good to share that. So, all right. Let's make sure we have everything set up. So what we're going to do first is actually, we're just going to warm up a little bit, which was one mistake from yesterday. Second mistake from yesterday was not having the metronome set well. Just kind of made some adjustments there and some playback adjustments. If you guys want to support this channel, become a member at musicbythemeasurespro.com. If you guys need sheet music, if you want to learn this song, or if you have some songs or comments you want to go and ask me, it's kind of a, while I'm hanging out doing these anyway, I figured like, hey, ask me questions about drums if you want to. And I'll do my best to answer what I do know. I don't know a lot. I don't know everything. So I'm trying one beat a click in and then one out. Let's just, like I said, let's groove to 50. 56, I think. I actually took it from 40, which is exactly half of the song, or 43, and moved it up to 56 because I was struggling just kind of playing that slow. So something else I just need to work on. So already I feel way better about that. Just having the metronome a little bit pitched differently. I was getting lost with the metronome in the click throughout. So it's a little bit nicer now. All right, just double checking everything's running, and it is. Drums, what's up, my guy? Dude, I did this yesterday, and it was so awful. Sometimes playing slow and actually just like, I don't know. I've been so used to using Sibelius that we write all the sheet music in, or John writes all the sheet music in. I just look at it. I don't do any of that hard lifting. And then going to a different format of like having to play with a different click that I'm not as used to. Threw me off. Threw me up is what I was going to say, but threw me off. What are you up to, drums? Are you practicing? Are you working on anything? So now that I got everything running, I'm just going to try to jump in. I'm going to have one measure in, one measure out. I only need to do a 4-bar loop because via the other videos I did like this, the loop videos, I should have put a link to below to them so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm making. And again, the whole process here is like, instead of me spending an hour making these videos, which, some practice time, some prep time, just do it all live, then make a concise product. 2. The other thing, I think this is going to make me really good at tracking. Now, I don't even care if I'm perfect. I only get a second to talk. Okay, wait. Let me pause. I don't care if I'm perfect right now because, like, I just need to do a decent job. And then if I need to, I can quantize something. Like, my goal right now is not to be able to play at 50. I think it's 55. It might be 56. I got to get my eyes checked. I don't. It just needs to be halfway decent. You can even see, like, in some of the other videos, I probably quantize something a little bit, right? Because these are, in my mind, they're not performance. They're me getting you guys a product or something that you can practice with. And for that, I think they need to be quantized. They need to be really tight. But I also think that's why it's so important to do videos like this where you're like, hey, guess what? Nobody's perfect. There's probably a little bit of looseness in the playing. And that's okay to have as well. It's not what's good for these, though, right? What's up, Megatron? How's your day going? So Drum says, well, Megatron, I should, I know not immediate. No, you're right, though. You're right. I was going to argue with you because I've been playing drums for longer than I should be, right? And I should be pretty decent. But but a new format, learning something new is always going to change the atmosphere. You got to adjust to that atmosphere. So you're not wrong. So Drum says, nothing had my first drum lesson. I'm self-taught, and I was told I should get an instructor because I can play, but since I'm self-taught, for some reason I can't read today, but since I'm self-taught, really bad technique. Dude, I think there's always insight for getting lessons, even where you're at. I would love to get lessons right now. I probably need them a little bit more. And I teach it as well, though. So there's always somebody better than you that's learned something differently than you have. Probably can give you insight. For vocals, I love watching Madeline Harvey. She does phenomenal vocal workouts and just approaches them in a way that I've never been taught before. And I would have never gotten that experience if I didn't go looking for it. So there's always insight. So what was your first drum lesson like? I always find it interesting when somebody comes in with a little bit of experience. It can almost be like, how do I teach this person that already knows some things? All right, I'm going to try to answer questions between my measures and try to do a clicking at the same time, and this makes it more fun anyway. It's like an extra challenge. So actually, I nailed that. Yeah, Megatron, I agree. Self-taught is good. I ran into some issues with my playing because I was self-taught. Some things that I just didn't get the feedback on. So I think there's a fine line between self-taught and then, I don't know, finding some people to give you some good guidance. Though the funny thing is, as a student, I did have a couple lessons like in my 20s, and they were not. I was not prepared to be a good student at the time, even in my actually probably 18, 19. And I really struggled learning how to practice. I feel like, dude, it took me till like mid 30s to learn how to practice and to, I don't know, even to get feedback. And speaking of feedback, let's do that a minute. One of the reasons I want to do these videos as well is like, I want to be forced to record more often, but I also want to be forced to listen back. I've been doing some vocal tracking, some guitar tracking, and listening back to your playing. Oh my God, it's the best, worst thing ever because you're like, oh, that's a mistake. Oh, that's a mistake. But through that mistake, you learn quicker. So, all right, these, again, don't need to be perfect. They just need to be close. So let's see how close I am. Dude, I'm happy with that. So that's awesome. Oops. So that is 50 something BPM done. Let's jump into the other one. Shoot, I can't see your last word, Megatron. You just don't want any kind of help, really. I'm interested to see when that, sorry, my mess, actually I can move that. Like I said, we're learning, we're adjusting, we're growing, we're getting better. That's all that matters. Oh, steer kind of help. No, I agree. I think I know the context of a steer, but I might not. There's a cattle joke in there somewhere. I will actually, to not look like a complete idiot. Actually, the meaning of a steer, like I get it in context, but I don't know if I can describe it, so maybe I don't get it. I think holier than thou. Oh, dude, straight from the heart is exactly what you want. And I think that's a cool thing about teaching. Like we can learn from anybody as long as they have the heart of the teacher. All right, here's 70. I'm just going to hit record. I'm going to take a little while to adjust to it, though. was grooving near the end of that, but it took me a second. So I don't, again, think any of those were exactly perfect, but they're pretty close. Let's listen. I would have to unmute this, though, if you guys want to listen. I have no problems with that. Sweet. So 70 is done. I try to do, obviously you can tell, 3 different speeds for the loops because it just, I don't know. I feel like for somebody to learn it quickly, you got to hear it slow, right? Get the process of it down. Maybe if there's something hard, I'd break that down separately. Or just referring back to all the 17 lives I did on this. I just feel like, yeah, those 3 different tempos kind of help you. And then hopefully by the time you're done with them, you're at the full speed one and it's easy. Or you just review the old ones. So same thing. I'm just going to warm up on this tempo. That one was decent. Just not getting that groove. Here, I ended a little early. So I don't think that one's terrible. Let's see what's going on, if I got it or not. Honestly, it's pretty good. I rushed that first beat a little bit, so let's just fix it a minute. This first one doesn't count anyway because I got to get that groove down and click myself in. Shoot, I feel like the last one was pretty good, but we're going to do. Yeah, I always like to have like 2 in the bag, right? Let's take a listen. It's kind of nice to just get that circle going, get in the zone. It's I don't know if it's tough to jump in and do 4 measures. Again, my goal would be able to do this all the time. So it's not a bad thing in itself to learn. Some of these are just brand new processes. That is good enough for YouTube is what I like to say now. It's my new saying. All right. So the 3 sections of the verse beat, the beat of the week portion is done. We are now at the fill of the week. Fill, F-I-L-L. It's hard for me to pronounce. What is different about this? So Head Over Heels, Tears for Fears, who wrote this song. I give myself 2 measures of break at the end of these just to give me a little recouping. So they use a 5. I looked at this the other day. I think I said 4 tom set, but they actually technically use a 5 tom set. That's how John wrote it out for us as well. I didn't really want to break out. I only have the 4th tom. I don't want to break out the 4th tom and maybe get a 5th one. So I simplified it. We have high toms, we have mid toms, we have low toms, and that's it. The basic beat, and I'm just going to warm up on this at the slower tempo as soon as I get set, but it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E, 2 and 3 E. I'm going to try to watch for those accents on the toms. They may not happen all the time. Who knows? Maybe I'll just cheat and turn up the volume or turn up the gain. I'll try not to cheat though. All right, let's just get this tempo. I'm also doing this 4 times in a row because it's a 2 measure fill, so it'll be 8 measures total. See if I counted that out right. 3 and 4 and 1 and. So I just gotta like calm myself to get to that tempo. 2 and a 3 and a 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and so you can just see me struggling a little bit. We're just gonna jump right into recording though. I feel like I can get that groove down after a bit. And it's nice to kind of think of that format, right? Like, all right, if I'm gonna record 4 in a row, it's nice to practice 4 in a row. Oftentimes I'll spend too many times doing the lives, which are just kind of like, hey, get this up to speed, get this up to speed, get this up to speed. It's nice to break it up a little bit. So just get that groove on the hi-hat. 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 and 1 E and 2 and. Three E and 4 and 1 E and 2 and. Also, if this isn't going good in like, I don't know, 10 takes, then I'll move to the faster tempo, the medium space tempo, and that might just be easier too. So I'm missing something in there, right? 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and still rushing that, but we'll try it in this next time through. 1 and 2 and 3. All right, there's a breakdown in the system is what I'm going to call that. I think I'm mixing it with Smells Like Teen Spirit because I've been practicing that. 3 and 4 and yeah, okay, I'm getting it now. I don't want to end like that. I want to get to my next one too soon. 3 and 4. There's the 4. 3 and 4 and. Now, ideally, I would have filmed this last week when I was like coming off of 7 days in a row of this song, but you know, life gets in the way. Okay. 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E 2 and 3 E. Just trying to like keep that momentum that I have, but like start slowing it down to where 56 is or 50 whatever is going to be. Like I'm floating in water. I'm playing so slow. But let's hear what 56 is. That's the idea. Was it great throughout? No. No, it was not. It was clicking and then it was not clicking. Let's do just hi-hat for a second. Yeah. And then I talked myself into like, should we just do hi-hat? And I was like, yeah, we should. Otherwise, I'm just going to go to the faster tempo. But sometimes if I can't resolve this issue or get close to resolving this issue, it's not going to be better to go faster. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and oh, my guy, Megatron, I'm doing songs on my own. I'm just not a drummer. But yeah, no, I agree with that sentiment. So Megatron says if you really need to make more music, start off with some cover songs. Best way to learn, steal, get ideas from the greats. You know, I like the Beatles. I listen to them a lot and rip off ideas. I was actually working on Blackbird a little bit today and then kind of jammed on my own little version of something like that. So But yeah, Megatron, if you want to check out my band, it's Lamech. Check out Lamech Higher Ground. That's the last song we released. It's on YouTube. So I don't feel like I'm rushing that as much. I'm getting that 4 of the snare on the right beat. I just got to get a little bit closer. Megatron, you were right. Lamech Higher Ground. Spelling's actually perfect. I mean, Lamech, you could argue, has a space. But I'm not going to argue that. All right, I'm going to try the faster tempo. I feel like I don't have anything on the slow one, and I'm kind of okay with that. Do the fast a couple times. See if I can play it. This might have to become a part 2, right? Oh, part 3, I guess. But at least we have the verses done. That's a good step. And I'm actually going to start releasing the I guess, beat. The beat separately in the core, or the beat and the fill separately. All right. Hit record, get the groove going. Try to watch those 16th notes. Because I jumped in on it. I'm feeling good about this tempo, though. Like, this is a little bit easier for me to play than the other one. Now, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, it might actually make me go back to the other one if I get this one down. And again, I used to do this whole process, behind the scenes, and it would take me like not 20 hours, but by the time you get editing done, and if you didn't play something well, like 4 or 5 hours to produce a video. And this way, by doing it this way, I get to have some chats. Megatron's chatting, drums is chatting. And you guys get to see the whole process, and you get to see that nobody's perfect. Well, there are people that are perfect, probably. The last one was really good. The rest they were there. Oh, I had to do this to me the other day. Let me just verify that the files are still there. Yeah. Interesting. I think they're there. You know what? This is painful, but every once in a while you just delete everything and you start over. It hurts. It's like ripping a Band-Aid off. I did it today during tracking guitar. But honestly, there's only like one part of that take that was good. The last 2 measures, which I wouldn't be against just copying and pasting those and calling that good. But I'm here. We might as well keep doing it. Okay, there were parts of that were really actually pretty good. So let's take a listen. I think first two, the first time through the fill, I think I nailed it. Now here's the great thing about listening back to yourself. And sorry if I got so excited there. Like I think it was good. I don't actually know if it's good, and all of a sudden I'm going to be able to listen back and be like, oh, I always rush this 16th note. Or oh man, hey, guess what? I am not on the beat with that snare. It's those kind of things that like if I sit there and practice and I think I'm good, or I don't have any evaluation, right? Like this gives me that constant feedback of going, okay, I don't do this well. Okay, that's what that sounds like. Oh, okay. It's good. It's a process that we should all get into, listening back. So actually, I think that it's tough to tell now. Let's listen again. We got time. I can't tell if I'm 1E, and a 2, and now that I gave this big speech about listening back is so good, I'm like, wait, am I in time? So we'll just check. My guess is 1, 2, and 3 were pretty close. I bet if we took that metronome away, it would sound perfect. I think the perfect is relative. I think the fourth one might be a little sloppy, but good review. We're just going to jump in, do a couple more, and go from there. And I totally did not mute all the drums. I was like, though it was sounding pretty good to me. Gotta watch that 16th note. One and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So again, parts that I liked, I was getting that groove down. I don't feel like any of the foot hi-hat sounded good. Same thing there, I'm slipping. All right, let's do a couple. I felt good about that last one. Let's actually see if sometimes I do this with vocals a lot. You're like, you felt good, you heard it good, you listen back, you're like, oh, that was actually terrible. So same thing here. Let's just jump into this last time through. Felt good. Yeah, that's not bad. That's what we want. I don't know if the kick was on one, or if I was late on that kick. So let's do. Actually, let's just listen to that whole thing. So those foot hi-hats are off there. That's better. I could live with that one and probably clean that up. So let's see. We got about a half hour, 45 minutes. Honestly, let's go back to slow. Let's be picky. Go back to slow. That never really happened. Again, you could easily slow that down in Logic or in Final Cut as well. So, we have a backup plan. Need to not make this project into 80 hours, right? Only into 20. Let's mute these drums. Let's get that groove at that slower tempo. I'm a big believer in like if you can't play it at slow tempo, you probably shouldn't play it at a fast tempo. Now, there's plenty of times where I'm teaching a student, they're like, I can only play it fast. And I'm like, well, that's because we don't really understand it. And I would argue here, I don't really understand it. 3E and 4 and. I think that 3E end makes me want to rush 4. And then if you're rushing that 4, all of a sudden 1E and 2 and 3. It's easy to rush everything else. All right, let's do this. We're going to get that groove down at 56, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 or something like that. One E and 2 and 3E and 4 and So I like that. That's better already. One and 2 were good. I didn't care for 3 at all. I don't even remember 4 now. That is abysmal. But we're going to move on. I'm going to try 70 one more time. I'm a little stubborn if you didn't notice. And I, honestly, I probably had one at 55 that was halfway decent. I was just trying to be picky and get more. And hopefully at least 2 measures that are good. Can always loop that. Those two are tight. And then when I go to actually do it, I'm not as tight. And sometimes, this is really good practice for having to jump in and record, jump out. Jump in and record. That in itself is a good trait to have. So when we're on number 7,012 of these, I'm pretty damn good at that. Overall, I feel like that's better. It's getting there. It's better adjacent. I had first one was good, and then I started slipping. Even if that one's not perfect, I probably could live with that. There's some good groove in there. Probably some bad groove in there as well. I can live with that. Definitely can live with that. It's a little meta. Somebody's watching me practice, watching me listen back to my... No, I can't even explain that. It's a very Andy Kaufman, Charlie Kaufman movie. Adaptation. Very good movie. Check it out. Nicolas Cage is in it. There's other actors as well. Chris something's in there as well. All right, 90. Phil, get that groove going. I'm just going to hit record right away. I don't know, just because it's easy. That one wasn't bad, though. this one did not start as well as that last one did. I felt very, well, obviously I started with that click. That just gets me in the groove. And then when I have to go back to like, right, I'm not grooving at all. I try to play the beat or the idea in my head. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and I know, Megatron. Sometimes, though, I'm going to argue with that. Sometimes it's not over, right? It's focused, but, like, not overthinking. There's the back and forth between, like, two focus groove, blah, 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 metronome, blah, beat. Wait, am I looking? Sometimes I play better with my eyes closed. That helps me get that laser focus. I'm going to do a little bit of getting that groove and then jumping right in. Three and 4 and 1 and 2 and like that right there is how I need to play that all the time. I think the first one might have been perfect. Let's, we have the power to listen back. Let's do that. So, showing up a little weird. Was I doing the groove thing again? See, sometimes. Yeah, well, some do. Kings of Leon, Megatron says most drummers travels their best without metronomes. The Kings of Leon drummer for sure doesn't play with a metronome. He's made note about that. He can't. I still, like, I don't consider myself a drummer, so that might be some of the argument. I'm a drummer close to or drummer adjacent, but I think there's training with the metronome is just, the best thing that you can have. Playing in a band is actually the best thing. If I had, I think the reason that Ringo Starr, well, I don't know enough about Ringo Starr, his early upbringing, but like my argument would be if you're in a band and you're jamming 8 hours a day, that's how you're gonna get good. That's how the Beatles did it. I don't know what he did before that. I don't know his early practice routine. I don't know if he ever played with a metronome or not. I know this is the old days when they had this click though. I think jamming and grooving with somebody is the best thing you can do, and just make up tempos and make up riffs and all that. Not make up tempos, but make up riffs. And just getting that groove down is the best practice you can have. I think this is second best, and probably actually both of them should exist. I am not metronome learned, one might argue, and I need to. Well, I don't need to be. I want to be, because I know that when I play 4 hours with a metronome and then I go hang out with my drummer, who's a phenomenal drummer, I play like a motherfucker. Like, I just play the best guitar I've ever played by doing this work. So I think oftentimes we can be like, hey, and I'm not necessarily picking on you, Megatron, because I was the same way early on. Like, metronomes are good, but like I didn't know how to play with one, I guess, and so I ignored it quite a bit. I feel the same way about music theory. Like, I ignored some music theory early on because I could play some ideas of songs. It just wasn't very good, and so I ignored theory for a lot of years of my life. And then I learned some. I still have a lot to learn. And I do see like how that becomes a part of my journey as well. So there's multiple layers, right? All right, we're going to listen to this one. And we only need to listen to this last little bit. I feel like that's not where I should have ended, so I'm a little concerned that the recording's not going where it's supposed to. But overall, though, I think that's it. I would like to do 4 in a row, so I'm going to challenge myself to get that. If not, there's a good marker for me to always go back to that and pull that, rip that from the video if I need to. Felt good about the first two. I totally My speaking about laser focus Megatron, my mind went blank. I was actually thinking about texting a friend of mine, being like, "Bro, look at this! I can play this beat," and then I totally fell apart. All right, it sounded good though. The first one sounded good. I think this first one just whenever I start it, that's why I kind of just let the record roll. It just needs to be a throwaway. Again, kind of, I'm losing that laser focus Megatron. I felt like the first two were just dead on, and then I might have thought, man, those first two are dead on, and that was enough to just throw it off. I always try to like start it halfway through the click, like that would help. It doesn't give me context, right? 2, 3, 4. I think I can honestly live with that as well. I mean, I could listen to that closer, but that sounded pretty good. So I'm going to take the metronome out a minute. And now, bro, you never can get it right the first time, right? And that's okay. That literally is the attitude. And this might be my 100th take, right? But it's just doing those takes over and over again, getting that feedback, analyzing it yourself. Like, in 6 months, like, dude, the best thing to do for myself and for everyone else is to pull up this first live that I did, drum tracking live. Like, man, I was bad at a couple things. I'm still bad at a couple things. There's like a million new things on drums or every instrument for me to learn. I can't learn them all, right? But I can't learn them all at once, I should say. But slowly, like every day, if I tackle one new thing, there's going to be this compound interest in a month. It's just, a month or a year. You're just going to keep progressing. All right, this is the last take I did. Let's listen. I think everything was pretty good. So coming the second set, I could tell I rushed a little bit. I was just not in time. This is why you review. You chat a little bit with Megatron, and then you review again because it's not as tight as I thought. I could still live with it. Let's take metronome out and just let's hear the difference between metronome in there, metronome out, and just see if we notice the ebb and flow. Because, like I said, we were chatting about drummers that do and don't use metronome, and I know for a fact the Kings of Leon guy, the drummer's married to, I think, Vanessa Carlton. I might have that wrong, but he was trying to do a track on one of her new songs a couple years ago, and he couldn't play it because they already put everything to a click. He's like, I can't. That's not how I play. That's not how I record. So they have more of an ebb and flow, and if you listen to some of their songs, you hear it. The funny thing is, when I saw them live like 5 years ago, they were tight as shit. So even if they don't play with the metronome, he is a metronome, right? A human one. So that one right there, I could live with. If Tears for Fears need me to play that one fill live, I could do that for them. That one I feel good about. Let's listen to the rest. The only one that I really feel like a little bit of the out of timeness is the fourth one that I did. I don't feel like I hit that kick on one well. That's the only one that I can really tell when I take everything out. For fun or punishment, you can see it how you want to see it. I'm going to do a couple more because I got like 10 minutes before I have to go be anywhere. So yeah, and again that feedback of listening to yourself, like, okay, all right, that was good. Okay, oh, I rushed that 16th note. Getting that instant feedback, listening to yourself, and trying to evolve a little bit every time. All right. I think in the future I got to give myself that landing strip, right? As soon as I go, actually, let's do it now. We're going to kind of like come up with a new paradigm of how to record these in practice. And we're going to do it together, guys. So thank you for joining us. So I want those two measures to get that groove down. Shit. I forgot how to play it. 1 and 2 and 3. Mouse. 1. I'm going back into smells like Teen Spirit. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay. I am debating. I think the first measure should be click. The second measure should be that. And then it'll jump into it. Should definitely move this mouse. Yeah, that's way better for me to record that way. I can't say the third one was perfect, but right now I don't know if I care. So we're going to do the exact same thing. Okay, yeah. Let's do that again on 70. This might be the where, and I've been doing this in my own tracking for my band Lamech. I'm trying to do less of that jump in and fix 4 measures, jump out and not fix them. Jump in, jump out, jump out. I want to do sections. I want to have a feel. I want to have that, not in this song, the emotion, but in my song that I'm working on. I don't want to just cut in. I don't want to have copy and paste and perfect shit. I want it to have a feeling to it. And doing this tells my body, tells my brain exactly how this beat has to feel, right? I said feel, and it's a drum fill. It's terrible. All right. Now, obsessive person in my brain, or me, I guess, is the problem. Wants to do that about 100 more times because I didn't think that was very good. But I'm only going to allow myself like 2 more times because I don't need to be able to play this perfectly at 70. I know that I can play it. I know that I probably can't play it perfectly 4 times in a row. It's really not, on the list of things that I need to be able to do in my life. There's other things. So it's kind of like I do this in my own tracking as well. That's kind of my parallel. It's knowing when to say that's good enough. That's exactly what it needs. You don't need more. He says in his higher voice for some reason. Is what I just did. Other than that, I felt good about it. Start over. Now, I felt it kind of slipping like that, and I was like, you know what? I think mentally I'm just done. And that's kind of what I was doing today. I set an hour and a half for myself to record a guitar part, and I was not worried about getting it perfect. Just wanted to do the last half, knowing that tomorrow I'm going to start over again. I'm just going to do the exact same thing again. Um, my ambition in that hour and a half was just to run through it all. Now, about an hour in, I was like, my ears are a little tired. I'm a little fatigued just from hearing back, listening, fixing stuff. And at that hour break, I took a break, right? And I kind of chilled out. I ran a couple of errands, and I came back and hit it again. And when I hit it again, it was so much better. Now here, I'm going to probably hit it again. Actually, I don't think I have to hit it again. I'm probably good. Now, I'll do what you call, like, listen to the tape, right? I'll go through this my next day and kind of just evaluate everything. Maybe I didn't get the fast section. Maybe I can't fix the slow section. Well, then I'll redo it. But for the most part, I think I'm kind of done. So I am going to go have pizza and beer with my good friend Zach. If you guys have any questions, comments, or want to support us, become a member at musicbythemeasurespro.com. Thank you guys, and have a good rest of your night. Middle of the night road. I think we're still live. That's hilarious. I kind of went into space mode.